had spent years investing into the trust of the community. But it is so hard to articulate to the degree that that was challenged.
Over the past couple of years, we've seen some challenges that people have saw nationally across the country. We became one of those cities where unarmed black male had been shot.
In Ferguson, gunshots were ringing out. In Baltimore, they were rioting. In Arlington, Texas, it was a time for our city to work on our challenges and to come together.
I want him to be able to approach a police officer and not be afraid, or have a police officer approach him and not be afraid.
Right now, the American people are renegotiating the social contract to what it means to police in America. And the one thing that I know with over 20 years of policing, you will go into a crisis with the relationships that you have before that crisis ever happened.
Arlington is a very unique place.
All right, flag, come this way. Go Rangers.
We're known as the entertainment capital of Texas, home to the Dallas Cowboys, the Texas Rangers, and Six Flags. We're also home to General Motors, and in fact, their most productive manufacturing plant. It's a city made up of people with a can-do spirit.
Arlington, Mansfield, Grand Prairie, 30, 40 years ago, they were predominantly white. And I think now with a big influx of African Americans to our city, it's forced the city to kind of change its dynamic and paradigm as it pertains to race relations.
The opportunity for us to grow together is just tremendous. And in fact, our community's police force was honored as one of the top 15 police departments in America.
350, I copy that call.
We're on the way to a 911 hang-up. 10-4.
10-4.
The policing challenges that we face are very similar to policing challenges that are being experienced all across the U.S. right now.
These officers will be there to respond in case someone in the crowd become out of hand.
For me, it's the 14th Amendment that is the most important, providing equal protection under the law for all people. We can be law enforcement officials and we can be advocates for civil rights. In fact, we should be the best advocates for civil rights. The absolute bedrock of being able to be an effective police agency is relationships. Arlington is 100 square miles. Between Dallas and Fort Worth, there are some pretty significant variances between one neighborhood and another neighborhood, and we have to be nimble enough to be able to respond to those individual needs. We are a majority-minority department, and everybody is responsible for a set number of neighborhoods.
At the table? We came up with, he had talked to us about it last year. We had to do a spring day.
Yes. I was thinking it was a spring day. There was something else going on that day.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you. Thank you, Bill. Tell me how you doing.
Good.
And how's John doing?
Good.
You keeping him in line?
Yeah.
National Night Out is the capstone of activities that takes place all throughout the year. You will see a barometer of community health.
The police and the community are very familiar with one another. You can talk to any of these residents and they'll tell you who their beat officer is, who their sergeant is, who they call.
Y'all know how hot it gets in Texas, right? Hot. Okay.
During National Night Out, you will see the depth in which people value relationships in each of these neighborhoods. And I think that you'll see how we connect with the kids in a real meaningful way.
The May program really involves a collaborative partnership between the police department and the school district.
We focus on mentoring to kids identified by the school district as having high potential, but also high risk.
It was like, it felt good to be picked out of thousands of students.
You can do anything that you want to do. You just have to believe in yourself. We know by research, some of the most pivotal moments are during those pre-teenage years. So officers have stepped forth.
Sometimes when a white police officer shows up, it takes a little time to try to get that trust. And it comes from both sides. I mean, police in general sometimes are wary of meeting new people, and kids vice versa. I think a lot of young men are taught it's hard to trust a police officer because of certain things that are perceived or seen. We started off getting just to know them on a personal level.
If you have something in common with me, I want you to come around and interlock hands, okay? So what I want to start out with is that I lost my mom when I was 4 years old, and I grew up without a mother. Is anybody else grew up without a mother or lost a family member? Come on now.
When we first started, my thoughts were, okay, these are going to be, troubled kids who are going to need a lot of guidance and a lot of help. But it became clear pretty quickly that they've already got all the attributes for leadership there. It's just whether or not they've got the people in their life to help them succeed and grow.
This program, through listening to them, not only has it extended the police relationship and strengthened that, it's also filtered out into the community where we've been able to have strong relationships with their parents.
I'm from Chicago, the area called Inglewood. Me moving to Texas was to completely get him out of the atmosphere that I had grew up in, and I wanted him to see something different, and I wanted him just to have a different chance,
When I was in college, my grades were terrible. So now that doesn't mean for everybody to stand up in the room.
I've been pulled over so many times. Who in here has been pulled over? We all get pulled over. We all get pulled over. We all the same.
This circle right here unifies that we all have something in common. Just remember that when you out there and you approach an officer on the street or an officer approach a student on the street, we recognize the fact that you guys have families and recognize the fact that we have families and we're just humans, okay? This unifies us together as one.
Being a single mother, to have all these men here who are taking an interest in him, and he can call anytime he wants to just to have a conversation with maybe some things he can't communicate with me about. It's a relief,
I'm not from here, and my perception of police and even my son Anthony's was a totally different perspective. It almost brings me to tears because it's like I can see y'all behind the badge. It's gone. It's like it's a person that cares.
You have to be talking to people on an ongoing basis. That basic relational bridge is the glue that keeps communities together when they're dealing with circumstances that nobody wants to go through.
Carl Wilson, an 18-year-old Martin High School football player, went to the car wash for a fight. When he arrived, 20 to 30 people were there, including some of the violent Trail Fam street gang. As Wilson crossed the street from the car wash to the apartment complex, he was shot to death.
That had everybody down for quite some time, and still there are people out here still down about it.
It had a deep impact just to lose someone that you're used to working out with every day, you're used to playing next to every day. So when you lose that person, it's going to have a heavy, impact on you.
It's still devastating. The shooting death of Carl Wilson was the catalyst for the beginning of the Coach 5-0 program.
Our police chief decided to come up with a program, and the purpose of that program is to build relationships with AISD student athletes and to help improve their social and emotional well-being.
Detective Jones, he's like another father figure or a friend. He's someone we can talk to about everything from football to just what we're gonna do in life. I lost my father at a young age, so with this program, enters that father figure into your life, someone that you can talk to every day, someone that's gonna work out next to you, run with you. It's an amazing chance.
To give us their phone numbers and tell us to call us even at 1 a.m. to come pick us up if we're in need, then it's just the best kind of bond there is.
How do we do it? Good. 1, 2, 3. Warriors. I've watched 300 football players who really didn't have any personal relationship with the police turn to, I know the person that wears that uniform, and he's part of our family. I think this is the blueprint that every high school in America should be following.
I try not to wear my uniform whenever I come visit the kids because I want them to see the human side. I try to treat everybody like I would want someone to treat my family,
It's just an extra person to help build you up and, when you're in your low points, picking you up, telling you it's going to be okay.
Once the city see that the football players or other kids are having a relationship with them, watching them interact with them, I feel like that'll bring the rest of everybody else closer together.
"19-year-old Christian Taylor, a San Angelo State football player, was shot and killed at a car dealership by rookie Arlington police officer Brad Miller. Before the shooting, surveillance video showed Taylor smashing a car windshield and using his SUV to break a gate and smash through a showroom window. Christian Taylor's father was among the hundreds of people attending this church service that was also promoted as a unity rally.
As a father myself, irregardless of whether police action is lawful or not, I think that as humans, we ought to be able to separate those two discussions and just have basic empathy for each other. And I was grieving with them.
I can never promise you that we will not have a crisis in Arlington, but I can promise you that we will respond with compassion, that we will respond with love, and that we will respond with accountability.
The most important thing that a police chief can do in a moment of crisis is try to address the information needs the best that you can. People always want information beyond what is known at the time that they're asking for it. But to be able to share with them what you have, most importantly, explaining the process.
Investigators have received officer statements concerning the details of this encounter and are committed
to allowing the facts of the case determine the outcome. Officer Miller exercised inappropriate judgment by entering the building alone. This unilateral decision to enter the building and to continue the pursuit deeper into the building upon making contact with Mr. Taylor, along with failing to communicate with fellow officers or develop an arrest plan, created an environment of cascading consequences that produced an unrecoverable outcome.
Over our Sunday school department, we had a group chat with our young adults, and I could hear their frustration. Some of the kids were actually very good friends with him. And so I went to my husband and I told him, look, we have to do something. And because of that relationship that he already had with Chief Johnson, he asked if he would come and answer the questions that we could not. And so we concluded that we would have this meeting, if you will, where the kids could ask questions. It wasn't a bash the police, it wasn't a bash the city or anything, but it was, let's talk about what's hurting us.
We addressed the fact that we expected accountability from our mayor and chief, and they demanded accountability.
I have serious concerns as to the rationale articulated for the use of deadly force in this incident. Based on a preponderance of evidence available to me and the facts revealed by the investigative team, I have decided to terminate Officer Miller's employment with the Arlington Police Department for exercising poor judgment. The actions I've taken today, I do so with humility. Our community is hurting, family is hurting, our department is certainly hurting, and quite frankly, our nation is hurting.
I think our chief made the best decision, but it's very challenging to make those decisions. And it was very hard for community members and police officers to understand some of those things.
The grand jury cleared Officer Miller of any criminal wrongdoing, and a police union now says the Arlington police chief owes Miller an apology. But Taylor's family says use of deadly force was not justified.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
I am Christian. I am Christian. We don't think justice was served.
Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do you want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
We were confronted with, is it going to be peaceful, lawful protest, or is it going to be unlawful civil disobedience? I was really proud of our community for being able to absolutely advocate for the things that were important to them.
Police officers were still standing by, blocking off streets, allowing people to express their amendment rights in the most civil way possible. We continued to meet with those that were doing protests, and I believe that goes a long way when you talk about community relationships.
can't stop every crazy thing from happening. The real test is how do we handle it after it does.
Some of these shootings are justified, but some clearly are unjustified, and rarely do we get that acknowledgement from powers that be. When the police try to justify that kind of stuff, that's what creates this big rift. But for police to say, to be able to shoot anybody under just the justification, I felt threatened, what constitutes that threat has to be based upon a certain set of factors.
There's different factors in each situation. You can't.
But if that police can shoot a citizen under the name of I felt threatened, then how unfair is that to the citizen?
People think that we're supposed to know it all, and we have to be perfect. I guess one of the things I think about is I wish they could actually step into our shoes and see what we see what we hear.
I may not ever know what it feels like to wear a badge and a gun, but I know what it feels like to be a dad of a son. And so that gives us a commonality off the bat that we could not have connected on outside of our kids. When these situations where we have officers or and vice versa in citizens, they don't understand each other's language. But if I look at you and say, wait a minute, that's my son, or hey, that's my daughter, I'm not gonna be as quick to even draw my weapon on someone that's my family. Sarge, you're my neighbor. I think what we have to be careful not to do is to say that one person's bad policing defines policing.
We have citizens at home waiting for us to come home.
I get it.
And she'll be real unhappy if I don't show her.
I totally empathize. I am hopeful. I'm seeing enough. I'm having enough conversations. And I'm hearing a lot of people being a little bit more open that it leaves me very hopeful about where we're going as in our town here in Arlington, Texas.
Officers will accept the dangers that come with the profession. But ambush attacks on officers have a different psychological effect. And I think that society has to understand what our employees face when dealing with that sort of crime, when somebody's trying to kill people only because they wear the uniform.
With the Dallas shooting that had happened, we thought it would be really good to show some of our appreciation for them. You know, they're dedicating their lives to us. The overall theme for our Spirit Week for Homecoming was backing the blue. Great to see, you know, all the people who showed up to the pep rally and the standing ovations that we had when the officers came out.
Homecoming 2016.
Frederick Douglass said that our greatest investment is not in broken men, but it has to be within our youth. They may be our future police officers, they may be our future educators, they may be our future city leaders. But the investment that we make in them today will determine what their tomorrow is.
Juma Taviano, touchdown, Mark High School Warriors.
As a profession, we must constantly be striving to improve and striving to deepen the relationships because we know that they will be tested. We look at the social change that's taking place. Some people say it's full of conflict and it's difficult. I'm not minimizing that position, but I think it also represents a real opportunity. We can have nobility in policing and advocate for social justice, and we can truly make society better through our service.
Teasy for Sheezy is in the house, man. 97.9 The Beat. I got a phenomenal person sitting next to me right now. He's the Arlington Police Chief of the city of Arlington. You guys received the National Award with the Mentoring Arlington Youth Program issued by the Department of Justice.
Everybody wants strong neighborhoods.
Right.
Everybody wants strong schools.
Yes.
Everybody wants an equal opportunity for their kids to have a better life than what they've created. And everybody wants the ability for their hard work to matter. Mm-hmm. And so we're just trying to create the relationship environment within our neighborhoods to be able to do that.